Welcome to the Proof Point Podcast, where we decode digital success one click at a time. We share key takeaways fueled by data and insights that your team can implement today to drive growth. Now, let's get started.
This is Stacy Porter-Bilger, your host for the Proof Point Podcast, where I feature B2B and D2C businesses and thought leaders sharing marketing, data tactics, sales strategies, and leadership insights that will kickstart your growth in this rapidly changing digital space. This episode is brought to you by Proof Digital. Proof Digital is a strategic and creative performance marketing agency. We partner with companies to create data-fueled marketing sales funnels and overall growth strategies. Visit proofdigital.com to learn more. Before I introduce our guests, I just do want to give a shout out to Jeff Carell, COO of Donovan CPAs, for introducing me to our guest today. Donovan CPAs has been a longtime friend and client and partner, and really an inspirational business to aspire to of our company. Donovan has been in business for more than 50 years, offering multiple business financial services, tax services, and overall business strategy. So our guest today is Trishia Hamilton. Trishia has recently been promoted as tax partner at Donovan CPAs. She works remotely in the El Paso, Texas area, but makes sure she is available to team and clients. And that's the way the world is today. We can work from anywhere. She is proud to make meaningful connections. And even if she is 1,400 miles away, Trishia, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. To kind of get started, I know that you are new to this position, and you actually were at a team retreat recently, and you kind of went through your career story, and I think it elevated the room, and you might even brought some tears to the eye about your story. So do you mind can we start there? Is that a good place to start?
Yeah. So where I came from, I worked for someone for about 20 years, around 20 years before I came to Donovan. And in that job, I learned a lot, good and bad.
Sure.
And I learned a lot, and I did a lot of different things there. I didn't just do taxes. I did payroll, I did compilations, I did sales tax, I did a little bit of everything. It was a small firm.
Okay.
It looked like you have a question.
No, you're good. I'm thinking through my questions, but no, it's a small firm, and you were there 20 years, and you're some bad and good, and then probably you learn more from the bad.
Yeah, but it took me a while, right?
Yeah.
So, so it was a small firm. It was the partner, me, and an office manager. And then we had a couple of people that came in part-time during tax season. And then the partner and the office manager were related. So I was like, it's kind of the odd one out, right? But I was really devoted to that job. Obviously I stayed there for 20 years.
It's a long time.
Yeah. And it took me a while to figure out that I shouldn't be there. Small firm. At first we had health insurance, and then that was dropped. I had no benefits except for a simple IRA plan. My responsibilities increased every year, but there were no promotions. There was no track to any kind of advancement there. Yes, sorry.
No, I mean, it's almost, I don't mean, but almost a kind of a abusive situation to be from an employer standpoint.
I didn't think that it was, it took me a while. I think when COVID hit is when my eyes really started opening about things. And in that last year, I tried several times to go and talk to him about it, and he kept on pushing me off until, I got through tax season, April 15th, and then May 1st, I was out after being put off so long.
Yeah.
So, yes.
I mean,
So,
taking advantage of. I mean, that's a better word, maybe. Just totally just taking advantage of, maybe, potentially.
I think so.
Yeah. So what turned the corner for you? And I mean, he put you off a long time, and then you said, okay, I know there's a better path for me here.
Well, I didn't even think in my head for all of those years, I thought, well, this is just the way it is. This
Yeah.
is just, I'm doing my thing. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. Um I was just there.
Right.
Right. And it really actually took my husband,
Yeah.
my now husband, and that's another story.
We can go there, or we don't even have to
Yeah.
go there. Whatever you want to.
Yes.
But you had a supportive person in your life who said, "There's a better way. There's a better way for you. I mean, life is too short. You got to find a culture that will elevate you."
Yes. And he saw in me what I didn't see in me. I mean, at that time, I was not a confident person. I didn't know, that I had abilities that were
Yeah.
maybe, that somebody would value. Um, and yeah, if it wasn't for him, I might still be in that position,
Right.
you know.
So he gave you the confidence, said, "Hey, look, you're selling yourself short.
Mhm.
You have
Yeah.
all these skills. You just been in this situation where nobody valued it, so then therefore you didn't value it, and then the switch happened and you left. So what
Yeah.
happened after that?
Um, after that, I decided I didn't ever want to work for a CPA firm again.
And here you are.
I know, right? Right?
Well, they're not your traditional CPA firm, so we'll give you. Okay, so go ahead. So you said I'm done with that. So what happened then?
Yeah. So, I mean, I thought maybe, I didn't want to work as many hours. Maybe I even wanted to work part-time or, less than full-time. So I was applying for positions, but I was being told that I was overqualified. um, and that they had other positions that they would want me to apply for. So I did that for a little while, just kind of
Yep.
still tried to do that. And then I had two choices before I started Donovan, and the interviews happened at about the same time. There was a CPA firm that was looking for somebody just to basically work 40 hours a week during tax season, doing reviews, and it was less
Yep.
hours during the rest of the year. Um, and I had that interview, and then I usually wouldn't answer headhunter calls, and for some reason I did, and I basically told her
Okay.
I'm like, okay, well, I'll work 40 hours a week and during tax season and 30 hours outside of tax season, and I want to be paid hourly. And I just kind of put up down like all of these rules, thinking that she's going to say, okay, never mind, whatever. And she said, well, let me talk. I think I might actually have somebody. And it was like within a day, I think that she wanted me to send my resume over to Donovan, and Jimmy got a hold of me right away. We had the interview, and I think maybe within 2 days I was offered the position.
Okay.
I was
And
actually offered both of the positions. And if you want me to tell you why I chose Donovan
yeah, I would
over,
love to.
yes,
Yes, please.
yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I chose Donovan. The biggest thing that stood out to me was Jimmy told me that he would love to have an experienced person that could help teach and mentor the younger staff. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is me. That is what I love doing. So
Okay.
that was it.
That was it. Which is great hook there. And the piece that I heard you say, which I know a little bit about Donovan, is they don't try to fit people a square peg in a square hole. They try to say, okay, what are your personal goals? What do you want to do? Okay, if you don't want to work 40, 50 hours a week, that's okay. What's your track? What are your personal goals? What do you want to be? Do you want to coach? Do you want to teach? Do you want to elevate others? Okay, we can put that into your plan. And I think I mean, I work that within my company, but not quite. I mean, there's a lot of lessons to be learned from Donovan as they've grown, to help people be the best of themselves. And I think that's a unique. It shouldn't be unique, but it
Right.
can't. But it can be, right?
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I've been
You've been there. And the message from what I'm sure everybody heard in that room was that there's a better way. There's a
Yeah.
better way.
So, I think when you say, after telling them that story, what I then went into is when I came to Donovan, um, people were coming to me and asking me for advice. I would voice something and I got to see it put into action. I had no confidence when I went in there. And, these things that are happening to you, they empower you to do what you love to do.
Yeah.
And empower you to take over things. I came in and I changed a whole process of the way 1099s were done.
Right.
They said, go for it. I'm like, this can be so much better. They were like, go for it. And that year after we did it that way, I was told, wow, that's
right.
much better. And now I've actually passed that down to one of the other staff members, Cassandra, and she's made it better. And that's what we want to do, right? We just want to, and people, I want to hear their ideas and I want to empower them to go with it,
Yeah. I mean, employees, wherever they're employees or friends or whatever, they want to feel valued. I mean, period. I mean, we want to feel valued. And when I hear your story, that's what the previous company squelched that. But when you were valued, a whole nother elevation of your confidence, your implementation skyrocketed, it seems to me.
It was crazy to me. Like coming to me and asking me questions and asking me for advice. And I'm like, whoa, wow, they actually value me.
Yes.
And I might actually be smart.
You are smart. It's hard to get there. And there's when you're already in that situation, I mean, you're trying to survive, you need a paycheck, you need all those things, and you just and it's easy to some degree, even though it's painful. But what I'm hearing is, you got to do it. Just go out there and jump. And there's somebody out there who will value the gifts that you have.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Now you're a partner. You're officially stepped into a partner role at Donovan CPAs. Congrats. How do you feel about that?
It's still new.
Yeah.
It's a wow kind of thing because I never saw myself being on a partner path. I just kind of do what I do. And I guess I do end up in leadership kind of positions, I suppose. But I really didn't think that. I don't know. It's a wow moment, and I'm still getting used to it.
Yeah. Well, congrats. But I mean, you went in, you were given that freedom, you were empowered, you were valued, and then you started making change. You put an idea out there, it's like, go for it. And then it worked. And then you did another one and then it worked. And so now you've kind of elevated the whole Donovan team and their clients with your skill sets. And so it should be a pretty big milestone for you.
Well, yeah. I mean, when they asked me, I was just like, really?
Yeah.
So it was incredible.
How do you manage this new leadership role 1,400 miles away? How do you manage that?
That was I had never worked remote before.
Okay.
Donovan. That was the first thing, right? So I was already nervous and didn't have confidence and all of that. But the biggest thing that I wanted to make sure that I accomplished was to have those meaningful connections with my whole the whole Donovan team and my clients.
Right.
So I think I've done really well with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm always available. I've got my, email messages. We do a lot of Teams meetings, phone call. Whenever I really made sure that I spent time with people and I'm pretty good at making the connections and I've made it work.
Right.
So, yeah.
We have my company is primarily all virtual as well. And we were always hybrid before the pandemic, but then we kind of and I have team members in multiple states. But it's really, and I feel like I have a closer relationship with them than I did if we weren't in person. We still have in-person things, like you came to Donovan and you do those things and you do, because that's when I was meeting with BJ and Jeff Donovan this morning. It was priceless to be together. However, I can have conversations. I can get to understand where people are. I can give them flexibility and some certain things. And we use a tool called Slack too, in addition to the other forms of project management. But you can work faster sometimes this way too. So I think I don't think 1,400 miles is a barrier. I think you get to bring its strengths to it. So
yeah. And I am told, actually, I've been told a few times that it feels like I'm in the office most days. So
that's good.
Be on the Teams meeting and then walk behind and they're like, "Oh, Trish." Yeah.
That's good. And that's helpful too, because you can feel isolated too. As you can, it's more about, how you make sure that you don't feel isolated from that structure.
Right.
Talk about the culture and the leadership of Donovan, and how can others be inspired by this firm? Do you think? What are some? It's a large contrast for your previous employer.
Right. Well, it was very interesting to me after that meeting, and I was done speaking. I actually had several women that came up to me and said, and they're new to Donovan, and said, I was in the same boat as you were. And I coming here, it's like, is this real? Like, I'm actually being listened to. I'm being valued. I'm being able to put forth my ideas and implement them.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. That was really cool. So there are a lot of people that have come from workplaces like I did, and then you come to some place like Donovan, and it's like wow, I didn't know these kind of places existed. Right.
Yeah. And I will tell you, they will succeed in the long run. They'll grow faster. They'll attract the best talent. Your previous company, it doesn't sound they had a lot of growth. It was just kind of stagnant. And so I think companies who really value or want to grow and be an attractive place to come for talent to come to, this is the culture that wins.
Mhm. I agree.
Yeah, because all those folks, and specifically, sometimes I know it's women can often be in that case, not always, but in that case, from a value standpoint, um, I can't even imagine the productivity that's going on
Mhm.
because of that fact of
Right.
their feeling value versus any other culture that could exist.
Right. Because if you, and if you're in a position where you know that your ideas are listened to,
Yeah,
you're going to want to make things better, right? More efficient, more,
you do.
you want to bring that to the table. And because, wow, I'm actually being listened to and they're empowering me to do it. So what does that do? It's like I'm going to keep on thinking, and if I have an
Yep,
idea, I'm going to raise my hand and say, "Hey, you know."
yep,
So it's
yep.
awesome.
It's probably creating internal entrepreneurs within the firm. And I mean, we have a lot going on in our lives, our families. And if you don't want to get up and get excited about work, that's not going to be a production person either. So,
Right,
I mean, so you're building something. It's fun to build something
right.
and being a part of that. It is. What advice do you have for whether, especially women in accounting or in cultures that um, maybe they aspire to leadership positions or they don't know their value yet. What are some thoughts?
Well, my main thought is don't get stuck like I did. And don't I don't want to work for a firm that doesn't value me, doesn't listen to me. Maybe if I come up with an idea, it's just like, yeah, whatever. They're not up for change. They're not um there's no promotions, there's no advancement. I mean, don't stay there.
No,
you know,
I,
get out there and do it. And it's
yeah.
scary. It's scary to try something new, but look what you can find, you know?
What I mean, you live once, and
Right.
and time is ticking. What excites you about the future, Donovan?
Ah, I'm so much of a people person, and I have some really good connections with, meaningful connections with so much of the staff. I'm excited to keep on watching them grow
Yeah,
and becoming the new leaders, you
no,
know?
that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's what excites me.
Where do you see the firm in 5 years or 10 years?
I think it's going to keep on growing. Right. It's going to keep on growing, and it's going to be our challenge to make sure we keep that culture going where it's not, I don't want to get too big that we lose that.
No, it's
So
work.
that's going to be the challenge. I think it's going to keep on growing. And I think I'm going to be seeing a lot of my other team members grow grow with it and just keep on advancing up, and going as far as they want to go.
Yep. That's it's going to be. I've been working with Donovan for not quite a decade, but not too far, and the growth of the company, um, especially the last couple of years, has been fun to watch. It's
Yeah.
fun to watch.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it was a self reflection of what am I good at and what are other people, and then that shift in empowerment that
Mhm.
actually changed their trajectory. I mean, it was this like even Jeff will say, I wasn't good at that, and I was trying to do that, and I was trying to do this and this, and then he realized that once I got somebody who was an implementer and somebody who did various things, and then he got out of the way, the faster they grew.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of lessons in that.
Yes.
After, is there anything that you listen to or read now that you've kind of got back to the value in ourselves and elevating your confidence now? Or do you have
It's
time?
a long time. and watch TV.
I know.
Yeah, no,
No.
I need to. When I have time, I like to spend it outside.
Well,
So,
that is also helps clear your head. So
yes,
that's also important.
yeah.
I know when I go hard and trying to do things, and if I go outside and turn off the phone and walk outside, sometimes my best ideas come to play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important to be able to get away from all the electronics and just remember there's nature out there. Yeah.
There is, and it brings calm. It also brings ideas. It just health as well. All those things. So I do listen to a lot of podcasts, and probably too many might drive my husband crazy because I always have them in my ears. He's like, "Can you just turn that off?" But anyway, in closing, is there anything that you want to? This is the Proof Point podcast. Any final passing thoughts?
No, I feel like I have been so blessed. And I'm passionate about this company and really honored to have been invited into the partner group. It's somewhere where I didn't see myself going, but here I am, and they invited me in.
You earned it, and your skill sets. They invited you in, yeah, but then you demonstrated that you are a partner at Donovan CPAs, and you bring tremendous value, and they are, like I said, they brought you up this morning. So anyway, congratulations on your new position. Thanks for sharing your story and being vulnerable. I mean, you were vulnerable, and I know that's going to help a lot of others, and including specifically, I mean, again, this women who sometimes kind of fall into that challenge, I guess, for lack of a better word. So again, thank you for making that point. And we've been talking to Trishia Hamilton with Donovan CPAs. Trishia, thank you for being on our podcast today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Proof Point podcast. We'll see you again next time. And be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.